Greetings and welcome to the Dr. J Vlog series. It is Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, and on Tuesdays we talk about music and the arts. And so today we're going to be talking about a peak performance by the Bee Gees. Bee Gees were truly a force of nature, in my view, comprised first and foremost of the three brothers Gibb. That is to say, Barry Gibb, Robin, and Maurice, the twins. And they actually started to perform together as youngsters way back in 1958. And then finally started recording their own music in the mid-1960s. And then they had a few hits in the late 60s, and they then sort of reinvented themselves a couple of times, and perhaps most, in terms of the styles of music that they played, and perhaps most dramatically when they had a string of disco hits back in the late 1970s. But I've always been sort of partial to the late 60s and early 70s sound that they created, perhaps because, well, that's when my ears first heard those achingly beautiful melodies and harmonies. And so for today's peak performance analysis video, I thought I'd go back to one of the first songs of theirs that I can actually remember hearing on the radio back in the day. Not too often, but occasionally. And it's called The Lights Went Out in Massachusetts, or simply Massachusetts. And so this live version was recorded in 1989 as part of their One for All Live in Australia tour. So let's get into it.
I'm going back to Massachusetts. Something's telling me I must go home. And the lights all went down in Massachusetts the day I left.
Okay, so I'll jump in here. So I've got my guitar. I'm just sort of strumming along a little bit. Can't help it when I hear this song in particular. And this is a song that I do as part of my live set typically. But it's a very sparse intro that sort of gets us into the song, and then that opening lead vocal by Robin Gibb. Okay, so his voice is quite gentle and calm and reflective, you might say. And of course, so distinctive in its sound, and spot on melodically, of course. Just able to carry that perfect pitch, if you will. It's a really, he has that kind of one voice, type of voice that I could just listen to endlessly. But, and so then the brothers then come in with their harmonies on the poignant first line of the refrain, and the lights all went down in Massachusetts. And then they, of course, defer to Robin again when he sings The Day I Left Her Standing on Her Own. And let's carry on.
Try to hitch a ride to San Francisco. Gotta do the things I wanna do. They brought me back to see my way with you.
Okay, so nothing radically changes during the second verse and that second round of the refrain, but Barry does add a light harmony on the second line now of the second verse. And they're essentially telling the story in the song of going to San Francisco, though during the 1967 so-called Summer of Love. Think of Scott McKenzie singing San Francisco, the song, in May of 1967, if you're going to San Francisco. And it's that, by the way, that song was actually written by John Phillips of the Mamas and the Papas. But even though the protagonist in this song is talking about hitching a ride to go to San Francisco, and he's lamenting that he's left Massachusetts. And the brothers Gibb, the three of them come on together again and do the refrain before they sort of set themselves up then for the final verse. And so here, let's take it through to the end.
Talk about the life in Massachusetts. Speak about the people I have seen. And the lights all went down in Massachusetts. And Massachusetts is one place I have seen. I will remember Massachusetts. I will remember Massachusetts.
And there we have it. So, yeah, unlike the studio version, this in terms of this live version, now they have these female backup singers, right? And so they're sort of joining in for the call and response, and during the outro, and the "I will remember Massachusetts," and it goes back and forth. And I'll remember Massachusetts, by the way, too, since that's where my Polish immigrant grandparents settled, and that's where my father grew up as a youngster, in New Bedford, Massachusetts. And I was actually there one time. I've been there one time back in 1985 with my father and with one of my brothers, Steve, and we went there for my dad's 50th high school reunion. Can't believe I'm only 5 years away now from my own 50th reunion, but here we are. Anyway, back to the song. So the Bee Gees, again, Barry, Robin, and Maurice, they all co-wrote and released the song late in the summer of 1967. And it actually became then the first of their 5 #1 charts on the in the UK, that is. It didn't hit I think it got as high as number 11 on the US Billboard Top 100. But yeah, so that was the first of their 5 UK singles to hit #1. And then the song, which was again recorded in the summer of '67, was released on their next studio album. I think it was their 4th studio album, titled Horizontal, that actually came out in 1968. And so on the album credits for the song, you have Robin Gibb, of course, doing the lead vocals, as we saw there. Barry Gibb, as well, as you saw, doing the rhythm guitar and also the harmony vocals. And then Maurice Gibb does harmonies as well, but he plays on the actual studio version, he plays bass guitar, piano, and mellotron. And then you've got Vince Maloney also playing rhythm guitar on the single, and Colin Peterson does the drumming on this particular song. And then there's a beautiful orchestral arrangement by Bill Shepard. So again, you hear that in this live version as well. So when I think of the Bee Gees, I guess, you think of the 3 principal performers there. Barry was probably the most talented pure songwriter of the 3 brothers, though they often collaborated to varying degrees on many of their compositions, including they all wrote Massachusetts together, which is just a lovely footnote to that particular song. Maurice was probably the most talented pure musician as such. He was a multi-instrumentalist. He often played the keyboards and the bass guitar on their songs, as well as just a regular electric guitar on many of their songs as well. And so he was sort of the the instrumental glue of the group. And then Robin played a bit of guitar, but he mainly was just known for his singing. He had that incredibly pure and beautiful voice. And it's a song, when I think of Robin's voice in particular, it's one of those voices that, if I could only take one voice with me onto a deserted island and I could only listen to one singer for the rest of my life, I think from the male side of it, I think I might actually take Robin Gibb. And on the female side, I think I might take Karen Carpenter. Again, if you could only take one with you. And again, there's so many genres of music, so many incredible expressive singers across these many genres. So obviously that's a tough call. But for me, I need the soothing gentleness and the purity and the melodic excellence that I hear in Robin Gibb and that I hear in a Karen Carpenter as well. So anyway, so they were just, the Bee Gees were just an incredible band in my view, and you'll probably not be surprised to learn then that they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1997. Unfortunately and tragically, Maurice died of an unusual medical complication at the age of 53 back in 2003. Robin then died of liver cancer himself at the age of 62 in 2012. And then the eldest Gibb, ironically enough, Barry, he's still alive at age 78. Some of you may know as well that the Bee Gees also had a younger brother, Andy Gibb, who didn't play with the Bee Gees as such, but he hit it big in the late 1970s as a solo artist. And Andy tragically died of a heart condition after years of drug abuse at the tender age of 30 in 1988. So in closing, I have to say that the Bee Gees are one of the few groups that I kind of always listen to when one of their songs pops up on the radio. And I don't even do that for my all-time fave groups all the time and the artist, like, the Beatles. Yes, I'll even turn off a Beatles song if I'm not in the mood or I feel like I've heard it too many times for whatever reason. But I don't think I've ever turned off a Bee Gees song. They don't saturate the airwaves as much as so many of the other groups. And by the way, I didn't even necessarily love all of their music, but if I hear a Bee Gees song, I just feel like I have to listen. I guess it's the nostalgia, it's the connections with different times and places. And they were truly, along with a few other selected artists, part of the soundtrack of my own youth. And I guess having lost most of them too soon, listening to their music continues to be my way of paying tribute to their musical genius and kind of honoring their legacy. I hope you'll do the same, and I hope you've enjoyed this little analysis video of a peak performance by the Bee Gees. So until next time, may you and yours continue to create peace in your lives, nurture love in your hearts, and dole out hugs in abundance. See you soon.